Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live, talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynn@pghcitypaper.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
Hello. Welcome to the program. Excuse me. It'd be the 18th of December as the year of 2017 continues to slip away from us, to which we all breathe a huge sigh of relief. My sister Susan's joining us because it'd be a Tuesday. Hi, Suze.
Good morning.
Good morning. How come it says here you're texting me right now?
Because when I first tried to call in, it said that your show wasn't happening.
Oh, well, see. This kind of thing happens.
But being the intrepid sister that I am, I just called right back.
Yeah, good for you, dearie. Here we are. Oh, man, this year can't end fast enough. The only problem is it's going to be followed by 2018, which is shaping up to be even worse.
That's right. The only thing good about 2018 is it's closer to the end of the first term, and which we hope is also the last term. And I know that this is a stupid thing to say, but I really can't imagine that we'd do this twice. But, I didn't imagine we'd do it once, so
that is true.
For what it's worth.
So you are assuming that he's going to serve a full 4-year term?
Yeah, I am.
Wow. I can't. I just can't get my head around that. Wow.
I'm not only assuming it, I think it would be better for us, and then we can just vote the whole group of them out. If we get Pence, we put a more reasonable face on the same awfulness, if not worse awfulness.
Right.
And that could get reelected. So, no, I'd rather just hold my nose and stay, praying as hard as I can to whatever god or goddess is out there, that we make it to the end, and then we wipe this slate clean.
Yeah. But see, to me, predisposing that the next 3 years are survivable is a big...
That's a big if. I agree it's a big if.
And think of look at the damage that's been done in 1 year. Imagine that quadrupled.
Yes, I know, but explain to me why you think that Pence couldn't be far more effective.
No, I agree.
Effective at doing even worse damage.
Oh God! All right. In other words, we're screwed.
We're doomed.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I totally agree.
I mean, I've gone back and forth in my own mind. In my own mind, the only way to get out of this is to get the whole group, everybody that he brought in, to the extent that we are capable, out. I mean, the good news is that the federal, the judge nominees are being humiliated sufficiently that they are leaving on their own accord. And I'm hopeful that the ones that get in are so shunned by their fellow judiciary knowledgeable colleagues that they will be pretty much rendered ineffective.
Well, I wish I could agree.
I mean, those judges will have to hire clerks that know what they don't know, and that will do all the legal work, write all their decisions, and then they'll just sign them.
Yeah, but what I understand is that he has appointed qualified, a lot of qualified, if not ideological, like Scalia's.
That we have no right to complain about. That's been the what every administration, that's what they get to do. And if your guy is in, then you hopefully get nominees that agree with you. And it's terrible, but the judiciary has been politicized forever. And as long as they are actually qualified, you have a fighting chance that the law will win.
I don't know. I give you Gorsuch. Have you seen the latest news of how he wrote these fawning, groveling ass-kissing letters of appreciation to Trump during the nomination process when
because he pissed him off so badly.
He pissed him off by saying that he thought that Trump's saying negative things about the judiciary was whatever he said. He said disheartening. Right, that it was disheartening. So Trump apparently let it be known that he might withdraw his nomination. He was so, of course, pissed off. And Gorsuch wrote letters that are like obsequious beyond belief. And it ain't a profile in courage. It is clearly showing that this guy knows who, although maybe once he's on the court and Trump can't touch him, he will exhibit a measure of independence. But I don't know.
There are far better men than Gorsuch that and women that with a Supreme Court nomination dangling in their face would beg a little.
Mm-hmm. I want to just, tell Stephen that I'm being told that our webpage is playing yesterday's program. Huh? Oh, so he already knows? All right, we're ahead of you. We're such a crack crew here. It's amazing.
Yeah, we know when we're all fouled up.
Well, yeah. Okay, refresh is what I'm being told. But if they aren't hearing this one, how am I supposed to tell them to refresh? They're listening to yesterday's gambit. Oh, God. All right, so Sarah Palin. What a family that is, huh?
I almost feel sorry for her.
I don't.
Well, no, I said almost.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, I would. Anybody else, clearly.
Anybody to have terrible problems with their kid, and they clearly got terrible problems with their kid.
I mean, what we've learned is if people haven't heard it, it's amazing. I mean, the police report says that Todd, the husband, literally had a gun pointed at his son through the window. They wouldn't let him into the house, and through a window he had a gun pointed at him. The son ends up breaking the window, coming through, and the father unwilling to shoot him. And
breaking the window, screaming, "Go ahead, shoot me!" Yeah,
and then tackling his father and beating him up a little bit, and who knows what else.
Not a little bit, a lot. He beat he pummeled his head good.
Okay.
And it sounds like he busted an eardrum, and it sounded like he was bloodied all about his head, and there was fluid coming out of his ear. That's not a good thing.
No. Here's my guess. I mean, he might have been a messed up kid to start with, which wouldn't be surprising, given his parentage, and also seeing his lovely sister and how she has operated. But
yeah, they did produce a bunch of, pride-inducing children.
Wow. But he's the one who got shipped off to Afghanistan. And it could well be that since he's come back, he's just, like a lot of veterans are, just destroyed psychologically.
He could have come back with any number of
PTSD.
Drug issues.
It sounds like he's got a drug issue.
With bad post-traumatic stress, he could, which frequently shows up in violence. And the combination of the two, is a bad combo. And the kid clearly needs help, and it's very, very, very sad. And they're clearly terrified of him.
Yeah, they're terrified.
Which is even sadder.
Yeah. They both, once he got in the house, they both managed to escape the house, leaving him there. They escaped in separate vehicles, which seems odd, but who knows. And the cops then came in and arrested him. What a. She's the one who called the cops.
She's hiding, calling the cops, and then she runs for her life. And
yeah.
And then I don't know how he got out. I thought he was down on the floor pummeled.
Well, he got out. I don't know. So he was, who knows? My God.
You know, I don't care how much I dislike her. I don't wish this on anybody.
Well, fine. I can't.
I mean, in the end, what did she do? She gave us Obama as president and a lot of funny television.
Wrong. Come on. She helped the degradation of what was considered, proper vetting for offices of this of such of high import. She was totally unqualified. It was just the precursor to Trump, right? It was our precursor to Trump. Yes, she helped get Obama elected, and then of course Obama's election sent the right into total insanity, which
a total tizzy.
Which is how we get.
This is our punishment.
Yeah. So wonderful. God. I hate to tell you guys, this just on the science beat. My knee was killing me the other day, and it was cold as hell, and I said to a few people, God, my knee is killing me, and they all said, it's weather. It's the weather. This just no, it isn't. Okay? No, it isn't. According to a gazillion reports and also, studies, it isn't the weather. You are just as likely to suffer joint pain on dry days as wet ones, warm days as cold ones. The weather is not, here's what the doctor says, the weather is not causing joint pain. But when it's raining and you have joint pain, you attribute it to the weather. When it's sunny and you have joint pain, you don't attribute it to the weather. But people get upset when you say this because they love that popular wisdom. It's the weather. I was
just thinking that yesterday because my knee was killing me and my hip was killing me and my thumb was killing me, and it was a damp and crummy day. And I thought, well, it's the weather. And I wake up this morning, and the sun is shining, and and it's not a day, and everything feels fine. So,
well, I don't know. I'm sorry, New York Times, fact or old wives' tale.
Fake news.
A change in the weather can make bones and joints ache. A new study has the answer. Absolutely not true. Has nothing to do with increases in humidity, rainfall, barometric pressure. I always thought the barometric pressure thing made sense. That with bad weather...
Barometric pressure sure does give me headaches. When there is a change, I can feel it in my head immediately. And that makes more sense. I mean, the pressure is changing.
Yeah, right. And since our bodies are made up of lots of liquid, too, it responds, right, to the pressure?
Well, it should, and my proof is, and it's icky, but when I awful...
Yeah, don't. If it's icky, I don't want to hear it. Okay? Thank you very much. You guys, I just saved you. I just want you to know, and you can thank me later.
You don't want to hear about
No. Jesus.
Well, I just wanted them to know what you weren't letting me tell them.
Yeah, well, jeez. So I had somebody...
Well, the one that changed the pressure hurt more.
I'm getting a headache. I am getting a headache. So, Susan,
yes?
Somebody asked me the other day, this is a person who doesn't have a lot of money, but has friends who say that Bitcoin is the thing, and she was wondering if she should... I said... Do you have $20,000 to lose? I said, do you even have $20,000? I said, how the hell are you going to get in on this stupid thing? And
well, not only that, but she is at the moment, she would be buying in at the
high. Yeah. Yeah, but the thing is,
it's already too late.
Well, stop and think of your apples.
Well, unless it goes
no,
up.
Yeah, unless it goes
further.
up. Yeah,
but
that's
you
right.
do even people that are very clear about their belief in Bitcoin and in virtual monetary systems, because Bitcoin is not the only one. Say that it's absolutely reasonable that it could lose 90% of its value in the next couple of years. It might go back up, but because it's based on nothing, it's just based on what people are willing to pay for it. It has no underlying value. It is a virtual made-up thing, and
I don't know
sorry,
that's true. I mean, so what is when we take a dollar bill and pass it off as a value?
Well, it's still backed by the full faith and credit of the government.
Yeah, but it's bullshit.
Which Bitcoin isn't backed by anything.
Irrational exuberance?
That's about it.
Well, here, all I know is
Bitcoin is backed by an agreement that the people using it will use it, nothing more. And it is backed by an agreement that it is valued at whatever it's valued at on that given day, nothing more. And if it all goes away, there's no insurance, there's no, saying, oh, well, we'll put a net and you'll only lose this much, or if you invested this much, you'll get this much back because it's insured by a bank. None of that is there. And I don't know, maybe I'm just old-fashioned, but until it is mainstream and has some sort of safety net associated with it, I just think unless you are a multi and can afford to lose everything, it is the highest risk of very risky investment.
Okay. But the young folks are into it. They're seriously into it. It's a millennial thing to do. And
that's fine.
Yeah, okay. But I want to read you a little bit. This is from Newsweek. And I was reading this and I was thinking, what? Okay. The reason apparently Bitcoin uses a ton of energy. I thought, what?
Yep.
Okay. And that's because of the computer network that Bitcoin relies on. So because it's a digital currency. It's not controlled by any central bank or authority or anything, but it's just a net.
Well, and let me say, that's supposed to be one of the positives, Lynn, that because it is humans that make errors, we're supposed to feel great because all judgments are made by the computer.
Right. Oh, yeah. Okay. So it is controlled by a network of users who build a so-called blockchain of Bitcoin payments transactions. And the Bitcoin network relies on what are called miners, miners, like coal miners. Bitcoin miners have to perform a phenomenally large number of computer calculations to track and verify transactions and solve complex puzzles to obtain Bitcoin rewards. Excuse me, WTF? So
exactly.
Bitcoin has miners who are trying to get rewards by solving complex puzzles? What does this have to do with the currency system?
Nothing. And so going back to your original, you had a friend. I just think it makes total sense. You don't invest in anything that you fundamentally don't understand.
Okay. So it says if the price of Bitcoin continues to rise, it will continue to use more energy because the price is an economic incentive to add more mining equipment to the network, and that incentive is built in. And that price is soaring, driven by everything from a craze right now in South Korea to the International CME Group Electronic Exchange, which started trading Bitcoin futures earlier this month. And then Stephen tells me that the alt-right, the neo-Nazi crowd in in the U.S. is being told that this is where their money should go.
Oh, yeah. Well, it started out as a criminal enterprise, basically. It was a way to do illegal monetary transactions.
So a lot of cartels, a lot of drug cartels use it. Right.
So if that's the company you like to keep, go for it. But, I just go back to regular investment advice, which is if you had this brilliant thought a year ago and could buy a actual little cache of Bitcoin for, and I'm saying CACHE, of Bitcoin for, say, $400 or $1,000, and today it was worth 2,000 times what you paid for it, you made a good deal. Get the out now. This would be the time to sell. This is just straight investment advice, not the time to buy.
Okay, well, that's what I told this young woman who asked me.
And it's the same thing as 10 years ago when everybody was saying, put all your money in gold. Put all your money in gold. The fact of the matter is the only good investment advice continues to be to diversify. You can have a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and you should never invest more than you can afford to lose, period.
Okay, there is a pro-Bitcoin op-ed in today's New York Times called "In Code We Trust," and it says, Bitcoin may be in a bubble, but not all bubbles are created equal. And what gives the Bitcoin bubble significance is that, like 1990s tech bubble, it's part of something much bigger than itself. More and more, it says, we are losing faith in humans. This is all part of us being cyborg guys. We are losing faith in humans and depending instead on machines. The transformation is more obvious outside of finance. We trust computers to fly our airplanes, to help surgeons cut into our bodies, to simplify daily tasks. In this respect, the world of finance is actually behind the curve, where we no longer feel we can trust people. We let computer code take over, and Bitcoin is just a part of that trend.
Okay, well, then let me point out when American Airlines screwed up all my reservations, they blamed it on the computer. They have no control. The computer made the decision. The decision was wrong. And then when a couple of days later I had another problem with them because American Airlines gave all of their pilots the day off on Christmas, that was also the computer. So, I just like to point out that computers don't make themselves. They don't program themselves. They don't create new programs for themselves.
They're starting to.
Those would all be humans.
No, but they're starting to. They're creating computers that will create code. And, no, we're not going to be in the picture. I don't know anything about this Bitcoin shit, but... well,
I don't,
and this guy,
2001, A Space Odyssey scared the crap out of me so badly. And now, if you're asking me to willingly walk into the world where we cede all control over to computers, I'm going to say,
No, well, I'm with you. Let me just read this guy's last thing. Bitcoin is not what I was saying. What's behind it? Nothing. It is maintained by its users, and no government can mint more coins. It isn't backed by any sovereign, and unlike a stock or a bond, it gives you a claim to nothing other than Bitcoin itself. Yet that illusory quality is true of most forms of money, a shared hallucination that we tolerate as long as it works. If enough others value something, that can be enough to make it serve as a store of value. Sure, Bitcoin will...
Well, that's true. Why do diamonds have value? Just because we like them. Why does gold have value? There's a scarcity.
Well, it's about rarity. It's about rarity. Things that are rare have value.
Well, Bitcoin's the same thing. They can create a scarcity. That's why the price is soaring. They can create whatever they want because it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And I want somebody to tell me who they are, because I guarantee you there is a they. The computers did not make up Bitcoin. A human did this.
Don't we know? We don't know the humans?
Well, we know that one guy said it was him. Yeah, I think he's in jail, actually.
I do, too. I think someone went to jail.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, but if the thing is, millennials especially, and people this is global, but I mean, people are starting to give it value. Anyway, he goes.
And it's not the only one.
No,
there are other
there'll
things
be other
like
virtual
Bitcoin
currencies.
out there.
Yeah,
and that's why when they talk about the bubble, what they and how it might be like the tech bubble, the response to that is, yeah, well, a lot of companies went down in the tech bubble, tech bubble. A lot of them didn't. You washed out the things that couldn't compete, and the other ones got bigger and stronger. So Bitcoin is among several of these virtual monetary systems. It's not the only one. It's just the latest one. And right now the most popular one. And if there's a bubble, some might survive, some might. Bitcoin might not. Doesn't mean it goes away. I just stick with absolute. I'm going to go back to, the absolute. This is an investment like any other, and this is such a risky investment that your traditional investment houses will not do it because it doesn't pass their risk-benefit analysis. They cannot. They are basically forbidden by the few laws that are left to do it. So
well, they don't want to do it just because they haven't figured out how to game it for their own.
And that's why you see a lot of their big guys poo-pooing it and laughing at it. And I wouldn't necessarily listen to them either. They're just not in this game, or they don't understand it. But I would say that there's a lesson to be learned there, too. If you don't understand it, you have no business investing in it.
Well, I don't think there's a lot of people who do understand it. And who are these miners doing this complex shit? What is that? So I almost see a bunch of, again, males, right? I see a bunch of guys sitting around in their underwear in front of their computers doing this.
You betcha.
Well,
and that's why every time somebody tells me that, it's perfect because it's a computer, I'm going to tell you, no, there's a guy in his underwear, unshaven and smelly, sitting in front of his computer.
Mm-hmm. Well, Bree
writes... There's lots of other investments, even gold.
Yeah.
And if it goes down, go ahead, put a little Bitcoin in your portfolio if you want to play with it. Nothing wrong with that if you can afford to lose it. But just, again, general investing principles, this is the wrong time to buy in. When something goes up 2,000, you've missed it.
This just in from Dubai. Bree writes, Lynn, the barometric pressure has shifted in Dubai recently. We had some rain, too. In Dubai? Yeah. And, of course, I got sick. Big head cold, chest cough. Of course, it's also a busy time at work, lots of stress, so maybe a combination of things that led to this. For me, typically, my body seems to sense when I will have a break coming up, and it chooses that time to get sick.
I think that's totally normal.
That you get sick as you head into your vacation.
That you've just not allowed yourself to feel all the stress and you're sleep deprived and you're building. And as you near a vacation and you sense relief coming on, you begin to release all that stress and all of that stuff and you get sick.
You know what? I am so grateful. I'm afraid to even mention it, but
yeah, don't say it.
No, I will. Because I used to, in my 30s and even 40s, if I was going on a vacation, I'd be fine. And then as soon as I was on it, the minute I was on it, I would be debilitated by just blinding, constant headache. I mean, debilitating headaches. And
that just sounds like pure anxiety to me.
Right. So here's what it is. And I thought I was insane and that I literally couldn't take a vacation. And then I remember C. Everett Koop, the Surgeon General.
Yep.
C. Everett Koop, I was reading some article about him, and he said that he cannot take vacations. The exact same thing would happen to him as happened to me. And he said he figured what it was is that all the stress that he was holding at bay to get done what he had to get done, as soon as he went on vacation, it also came out. He had no control of it at that point, and it would take him down. He ended up never going on a vacation. He said, I simply can't. So yeah, there's no doubt it's some kind of a psychological thing, but it's physically is how it manifests, and it's debilitating. And I don't know. I think it does have to do with, this, I don't know. You think you're finally getting away from the stress, and instead it decides to act out, I guess. Something weird. But that doesn't happen to me anymore. Thank God.
Well, good. I'm glad.
Jeez. Here's a great quote from a great general, Omar Bradley. World War II, great general. Also was from around these parts, I believe. Omar Bradley. He said this: "We have grasped the mystery of the atom and rejected the Sermon on the Mount. Ours is a world of nuclear giants and ethical infants." Don't you think that's about right? You don't? Susan? Susan?
What? I'm having trouble hearing you.
Well, I don't know what to say. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So you didn't hear the quote?
No, I did not hear the quote. It was going in and out.
Okay, I'll try it one more time. We have grasped the mystery of the atom and rejected the Sermon on the Mount. Ours is a world of nuclear giants and ethical infants.
Well, that certainly seems to be true.
It sure does.
Except that we are now throwing out the first part of the proposition and just hanging on to the second.
Okay.
Because we don't like science-based or evidence-based.
Better to say fucking piss than that, Susan. This is a family program. Here's a quiz to test your knowledge of the horrific year we've just been through. Would you like to take it? We'll take it together because I haven't taken it yet either, okay?
Okay.
President Trump's infamous line, "You're fired," was taken to another level this year as more than a dozen high-ranking advisors and cabinet officials were forced out or quit. Name the outspoken White House official who was fastest to be ushered out. After
Scaramucci or whatever.
Yeah, right. That'd be Scaramucci. The Mooch. Name some others though that have been. There was there
was Steve Flynn. Michael Flynn.
No, but I'm thinking about cabinet officers. There's the guy Wilbur Ross. Didn't he have to go? He didn't. He's still there. There was the guy in charge of Health and Human Services. Tom Price. He had to go.
He's still there, isn't he?
No. He's been replaced by what manner of horror has I don't know.
There's still a couple of horse riders up there. Wasn't
Zinke.
Tom Price the one that was riding his horse?
No, that was Zinke, Interior.
Oh.
And Wilbur Ross is still in. He's a crook. He's an incredible crook. Head of Commerce.
Right. That's the Commerce guy. Yeah, he's still in.
Yeah.
And he's still in and happily self-dealing.
Yeah. He's just unbelievably, these guys enriching themselves left and right. Of course, the tax bill
I know. I
being the latest.
I want a seat at the table. I'm trying to do a deal in Italy. Let me in there.
That's right. Okay, in June, Trump explained a major reversal of previous U.S. policy by saying, "I was elected to represent the citizens of Pittsburgh, not Paris." To what was he referring?
Oh, well, that would be the climate accord.
That would be the
Pittsburgh
climate
got
accord.
pissed off.
And I have to tell you, we the people, citizens of Pittsburgh, were pissed off beyond belief when he said that, because the citizens of Pittsburgh did not vote for him.
Oh, but he's the president of all the people.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. Name the targets of the following tweeted Trump insults. Okay? Here's one. The worst abuser of women in U.S. political history. Who was he referring to?
Who said this? The worst political history?
Trump accused someone of being the worst abuser of women in U.S. political history. That would be, he was referring to, who was he? I don't know. I looked it up. So
I don't know.
That would be Bill Clinton. Who did he tweet this about? One of the most overrated actresses in Hollywood.
Oh, well, that was Meryl Streep.
Right. Who, by the way, is getting rave reviews.
Rosie McGowan is going a little off the track here, and she was told to cut it out too. Yeah,
who are you talking about, Rosie McGowan? What
why
are you saying?
Women have to start fighting with each other when they have this common goal?
Susan, what are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. I thought we were talking about Meryl Streep.
We are talking about Meryl Streep.
How did Rosie McGowan get into
who
it?
got in trouble mostly by Rose McGowan for staying silent about Weinstein.
Oh, I think Weinstein.
And sorry, we know other people that pronounce it differently. Streep reached out to McGowan, tried to talk to her. Rose would not return her calls, and finally Streep said, "Look, I did not know," and I can see Harvey going, "She's already too powerful to threaten. I'm leaving her out of this. If she didn't see it, she didn't see it."
Yeah. All right, here's another tweet. The enemy of the American people, to whom was Donald Trump referring to? I think I know this one. I'm going to say media.
The enemy of the American people, probably Obama.
No, media, I bet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the fake news media.
Well, Fox News is the enemy of the American people. They're calling the Miller probe a coup.
All right, 2 protesters stormed the stage during a play at Central Park's Delacorte Theater this summer, shouting, "This is violence against Donald Trump." What was the play? I think it was Julius Caesar.
Moore's one-man show? Who knows?
No. I think it was Julius Caesar. It was some Shakespeare play where they had...
Oh, it was. I thought it was Shakespeare. Yeah, it was Shakespeare
they had
in the
Caesar
Park,
played by...
Which is what Delacorte Theater is, and I just wasn't putting that together. Yes, because they did it they did what I hate doing, which is they did it in modern-day dress and gave it this overlay and the guy looked like Donald Trump. They put the wig on him, which I just think, no, I think we talked about this. Do Julius Caesar and let your audience figure out the current parallels.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that's dumbing down the whole thing.
Yeah, and I don't think it really works. It's not fair to Caesar.
No,
it's not fair to Caesar. Excuse me.
Him with Trump.
I'm really. Let's see. All right, this will be too hard, I think, but let's give it a shot. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Who said the following? There's no way we're gonna know. Forget it. You want to do it?
Try it.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll give you it's 5 possibilities, and they're this is all right. Number 1, there is nothing so fretting and vexatious. Obviously, not anybody living in these times. Wait, there is nothing so fretting and vexatious, nothing so justly terrible to tyrants and their tools and abettors as a free press. Okay, I'm going to give you 5 possibilities. George Orwell, Mary Lynn Robinson, Samuel Adams, Annie Proulx, or James Baldwin. I'm going with Adams.
I only know who a couple of those are.
I'm going with Adams.
I was going to say I'm going with the oldest one.
Well, that'd be Adams.
That would be Adams, yeah.
Yeah, and he was a founding-ish father. He would be, for the free press. Shall I check? I don't want to check on that yet because when I check, I'll see the answer to the next one or something. So hang on. Okay, you think your pain and your heartbreak are unprecedented in the history of the world, but then you read. Who said it?
That's a good one.
George Orwell, Mary Lynn Robinson, Samuel Adams, Annie Proulx, or James Baldwin? I'm going to say...
Who's Annie Proulx?
Annie Proulx's a writer, an author. Stephen's saying it's James Baldwin. I'm going to say it's Marilyn Robinson, who was...
I was leaning toward James Baldwin, too, but...
Wasn't Marilyn Robinson the one who won a Nobel Peace Prize or something for... she's Irish. I might be wrong about her anyway. I'm going to say that. Okay, so 3. There is no crime, absolutely none, that cannot be condoned when our side commits it. It's the same possibilities, guys. George Orwell, Marilyn Robinson, Samuel Adams, Annie Proulx, and James Baldwin.
George Orwell.
I think so, too. We're all agreeing that one's Orwell. Number 4, the happy ending still beckons, and it is in great hope of grasping it that we go on.
That's one of the women.
Okay, I'm going to give it to Annie Proulx. Number 5, a society is moving toward dangerous ground when loyalty to the truth is seen as disloyalty to some supposedly higher interest. That's got to be Orwell. That's got to be Orwell.
Like Orwell too.
And so Baldwin probably is, there is no crime, absolutely none that can't, I don't know. Shall we find out?
Yes.
Yes, the first one about the free press was Samuel Adams. I was right about that one. Number 2 about you think your pain and your heartbreak are unprecedented, and then you read. That's Baldwin.
That's what we said.
I didn't. Okay, there is no crime. There is no crime, absolutely none, that cannot be condoned when our side commits it. What did we say on that one?
We said Orwell.
We said Orwell. Yeah, we are correct. And that means that the happy ending still beckons. Susan, you're right, it's a woman, and it's the writer, Annie Proulx, which leaves the last one to Ms. Robinson. She's a novelist, too, as it turns out, I'm embarrassed to say. A society is moving toward dangerous ground when loyalty to the truth is seen as disloyalty to some supposedly higher interest. Okay, well.
Well, that's where we are. When did she write that?
I don't know. In March, the iconic Wall Street Bull got company, a bronze statue commissioned by investment firm State Street Global Advisors, to publicize the need for more women on corporate boards of directors. What is the statue called?
It's that little girl with her arms outstretched in front of the bull.
Do they call it the Defiant Girl? What do they call it?
So I don't know what they called it, but the artist got pissed off.
Fearless Girl? Defiant Girl? Fearless Girl? It's, I don't know. Fearless Girl. It is Fearless Girl. And you know what? They later found out that the company that commissioned it, has an abysmal record of women on its own board or some other thing. I mean, it's just bullshit.
No, it's always bullshit. It's always bullshit. Come on.
Oh, okay, so I got another list here. This is the end of year shit, you know. Shall we revisit some of the people who died this year? Can you think of, was it a particularly lousy year for deaths? I think it was the year before that was horrible. With Prince and
well, let's see. Glenn
David
Campbell
Bowie.
died this year. I'm trying to think who died. Glenn Campbell. There were a bunch of actors.
There always are.
What was his name? Something.
I don't know.
William. He was.
Okay, so Dick Gregory died.
Dick Gregory.
Sam Shepard.
Yeah, he was pretty young. Oh, and then the other Dean Stanton, Dean something Stanton.
Right, right. That wonderful, wonderful actor.
Didn't only actors died? Actors and singers?
No, you want somebody who's not an actor or a singer?
Yeah.
Here's one, and I cheered. Roger Ailes.
Oh, that's right. I get pissed when these men drop dead rather than face the ignominy of the rest of their lives.
He died and didn't have to suffer the ignominy, which was his due. Hugh Hefner died.
Yeah.
Hugh Hefner.
Yeah. Oh, boy, that's a loss.
Let's see here.
Really, what's this world coming to when we celebrate a man that lived his whole life in his pajamas and was openly, just a pig?
Well, there's a more nuanced view. I don't know what to tell you. Tom Petty, talk about a heartbreaker. Oh, God, I still can't bear that he's gone. Fats Domino. Who else we got here? It wasn't a big year. I'm sorry. Not enough biggies dropped. It was the year before that was so horrible.
Well, they'll have to sing a shorter song at the Oscars.
Yeah, that's true. Mary Tyler Moore. And Don Rickles. I'll give you some of the Erin Moran, she was on Happy Days. Man, she was.
Oh yeah,
young
well that was a sad one
because she was
that's
full of drugs
the cautionary tale that just because you hit it big in a series once doesn't mean that your life is happy and that you're set for life or anything else. She had a tough life.
Chuck Berry, Suze.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was another no good Nick, and he would not have survived the current climate because he was convicted probably about 15 years ago for having peepholes in his bathrooms, that sort of stuff.
Roger Moore, George Romero.
That's sort of sad. Yeah.
George Romero, Martin Landau. I don't know. John Hurt. Jerry Lewis. That's a biggie, actually. Jerry Lewis. Greg Allman. Not such a, I don't know. Al Jarreau. No big deal. No big deal. And Charlie Manson. Yes, that's true. Good riddance. Two women behind major Supreme Court rulings died this year. The Jane Roe from Roe v. Wade.
Roe,
his real name was Norma McCorvey. She died, 69 years old. And Edie Windsor, the old lady whose case got to the Supreme Court.
Pay equity thing.
No. She's the one who led to the Supreme Court decision legalizing gay marriage.
Oh, that's right. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
She was cute.
Yeah, she was something. So I guess that's about it. There's not, I don't know. There are years, it was last year. Oh, here locally. There were two big Pittsburghers that died this year, George Romero being one, and Thomas Starzl, the the liver transplant guy. Let's hear what they say about him. He conducted the first successful human liver and heart liver transplants. And he died this year. All right, just saying. Whatever. Don't have a lot going on here, Suze. So what do you think about the ethics of Senator Bob Corker?
God, you'd think these guys would just be a little bit embarrassed.
No.
I mean, don't you?
No, Susan, I have to tell you.
It's like if
for
you
30,
got caught
yeah.
stealing $5 out of your mother's purse, wouldn't you be a little bit embarrassed?
Yeah.
And these guys are writing whole sections just for them.
I know. And, I mean, supposedly he wasn't going to vote for this bill because of the deficit production. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden he's a yes, and there's been nothing done that would have made the deficit better. So that was a lie, or it turns out he had a price where he said, screw the deficit. Give me that. Yeah. One of the things, too, that is rarely looked at is that the current U.S. Senate is filled with more millionaires than any Senate in history. We were saying before that, yesterday, that it's the oldest Senate in history. It's also populated by the richest senators. And so when they write a bill like this, don't think their own self-interest doesn't enter the picture.
Well, and that they haven't really lost touch with the majority of American people. I mean, that it's just not part of their reality. They don't get it. They don't feel it. There was another story out recently about, I think it was yesterday in the news, about whether money makes you happy. And the one thing that they found out about having lots of money is it makes you less empathic.
Yeah.
Or, as you say, empathetic. And I think that's, I mean, you just see it at play right there. They don't, not their problem, and they forget it exists. And the other reason is because the only people that can afford to run for office now are rich.
Right. Well, that is to do
in Chicago, we got commercials where we got a guy named Chris Kennedy. Does Kennedy ring a bell to you? He would be the son of Robert.
Okay.
And a guy named Pritzker.
Huh.
And Pritzker is one of the heirs to the Hyatt Hotel, the billionaires. I mean, just extraordinarily wealthy people. And we are treated to watching Pritzker and Kennedy try and out-common man each other.
It's too funny.
Because they're both running as Democrats and they're trying to...
And they're both richer than hell.
It's just like a joke.
Yeah, it is. But people buy it somehow. I don't know what the hell... Oh, Al, here, let me get this in. Denise writes, I invested in Bitcoin about 1.5 years ago. Susan is correct. I only invested as much as I was willing to lose. I've already sold enough to cover my original investment plus a small profit. It's so risky that I worry when I hear people are getting loans, oh my God, and second mortgages to buy in.
It's crazy.
By the way, you can...
And because, they're buying in at the top now.
And she says, by the way, you can buy fractions of Bitcoins. She says, I watch my remaining investment with humor and consider any profit from here on in just a lucky break. Well, Denise, you sound like you got your head screwed on properly. Oh, man.
Right. I mean, honestly, you could have done the same thing with Apple stock if you bought it 8 years ago. You know, I mean, there are more than one. You know, this is the nature of any kind of these investments, and I just prefer to know that there's actual bricks and mortars and asset value behind that which I'm investing.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Bob writes, for all intents and purposes, this will be Susan's last show. I think he means of the year, because I don't know why else that would be. So he wants to know, Susan, what are your New Year's resolutions?
Oh, I don't make New Year's resolutions. I don't have any. I don't mean to sound obnoxious about this, but if there's something that I want to get done, I don't need New Year's to resolve it. And I don't know. I don't need to lose weight. I could probably resolve to stop drinking so much red wine, but it ain't going to happen, so why bother? You know, I don't know. Do you have any, Lynn?
No, I don't make resolutions either, because I would agree with what you said, that I'm not going to take some arbitrary date and say this is when I'm going. First of all, most New Year's resolutions, go
by the wayside in 30 seconds.
Absolutely.
Flat.
So, no, I think
as
challenges appear in our lives, we deal with them. Resolve to I do resolve, and I do this on any day, to try to use the remainder of my days in as good a way as I can, and to better myself, internally.
Right.
To get
and the last big resolution that I made was when my husband died, and I resolved to try and live the rest of my life in a way that would honor him, because he was so much better at living than I am.
Yeah. Well, he was better at living than most.
Yeah.
Well,
so that sort of covers it. And there are days that I really fail.
Yeah. I don't know.
And there are days that I do better. But no, other than that, I don't. I think New Year's resolutions are bogus. And if there's something you need to do, you don't need New Year's to decide it. When I needed to quit smoking, I set a date. It was December 1st, 1988, and I stuck to the date. But as a New Year's resolution, I probably would have been smoking by the 2nd.
Yeah, I have to say, too, that New Year's in general I don't like. Again, because it's an arbitrary construct in a way, but also because of how New Year's is celebrated in our culture, which I find repellent, actually. And I have a memory that will never go away. I generally will never be out on a New Year's Eve, ever.
No, me
and
either.
that's been something.
Well, the world is divided into two
throughout
people.
My life.
Those of us that huddle in the dark on New Year's, and those that find paying too much for a subpar meal with a lot of drunk people fun.
Right. So my sense of New Year's was solidified probably in about 1960. I'm going to say 63 or 62, when, of course, I was staying home, and my older brother, by 18 months, had gone out to celebrate the New Year with his buddies. I recall at some point the doorbell ringing, the front doorbell. I ran to the door.
New Year's Eve.
I ran to the door, and there was my brother. I think he was semi-conscious. He had been propped between the screen, the storm door and the front door, and his friends had put him there and then hightailed it out. And I opened the door.
Well, I think that was mighty responsible of them.
Well, actually, yes, they brought him home. I opened the door and he fell into the hall. And I remember thinking, this is just, that to me is the epitome of how our culture celebrates New Year's. With noise, loudness, and drunkenness, and forced revelry. And, so I would stay home and do something every bit as disgusting, and that's watch Guy Lombardo. Do you remember?
Well, we celebrate my daughter-in-law's birthday.
Oh, yeah, right. Well, that's nice.
I just wiped out New Year's Eve, and it's just Tawny's birthday.
That's good. That's good.
It's a much better way to celebrate.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, guys, sorry to be such wet blankets about New Year's, but I just...
Sorry, I didn't mean to poo-poo the question, but that's really how I feel about it.
No, that's your honest answer.
The only resolution I've made is the one that I said, and it sort of covers everything.
I think it does, too. It's a good one. We should all resolve to live our lives with the gusto that Eric did. God bless him. All right, Suze, thanks. That is your last show for 2017. See you back in the new year, where I believe you'll be joined. Are you going to do it from
I'll do it, but
California?
You know, it's a little difficult because I'll be in California, so it'll be
3 hours.
It'll be 7 a.m. my time, and I will have had to get up and walk the dog first.
Well, you can or you don't have to. I mean, I understand it is that's burdensome. So we'll hope to see you.
The fact of the matter is we wake up early there anyway, so no problem.
Okay. Well, thank you.
All right. Well, Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy New Year to everybody. And I love you, dear sister.
I love you, too. Bye, Suze.
Bye.
Bye. And goodbye to you guys. I'll be back tomorrow because I don't have anywhere else to go. Bye.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.